Hilarious.
Hello, everyone. It's Shalyn Barr, and welcome to the Art of Being Enough. I am joined by Sherita Smith. Sherita, say hi to the people today.
What up, though, everybody? Glad to be here with my Shalini Poo.
Oh, how sweet is that? We're just going to start off the conversation with that. Yes. So today, here in the conversation room, you're actually going to learn a lot about Sherita Smith and her Shalini Poo, apparently. Okay, so today, Sharita, I literally am so excited to be here with you and be joined with you because you have been doing quite a bit lately, and I am so proud of you.
Oh, thank you, friend. I appreciate that.
Well, you're welcome. So, what I want to do first is just read. Your bio is just like, oh my gosh, she's amazing. And so I'll put on my professional granny glasses and I'm going to read this. So before I start, though, could you properly pronounce for us all the name of your company? Properly pronounce it for us.
Cinnaire.
Cinnaire. Okay, thank you. So Sherita joins Cinnaire's Detroit office as VP Community Development, responsible for implementing Cinnaire's targeted investment strategy for Detroit by building relationships with local partners to advance Cinnaire's community connection initiatives. So that's sentence one. And right away I was blown away like, oh my God, I don't know who my best friend is. I'm like, she is amazing. Okay, so to go on. Okay, and interject at any point in time. So in 2022, she was promoted to Senior Vice President, Community Connection, and collaborating with all business functions to develop equitable, whoo, that's a big word, equitable
Indeed.
development strategies across all Cinnaire business lines. Do you kind of want to speak to just the beginning of this just a little bit?
Yeah, so just to give folks some context, if you're unfamiliar with community development, it's really rooted in civil rights and justice, right? It's about not having folks come from the outside in and develop projects, but really centering the needs and aspirations of the people who live in a place, especially in disinvested places,
Ooh,
and developing community with rather than just for.
wow, that is amazing. And I think your bio goes on to really speak to why you're excellent at what you do, because you go on to talk about how you have a long-standing history serving Detroit neighborhoods with more than 20 years of affordable housing and community development expertise. And you spent your career, this is what you have here, advocating for change, and that has had a deep really it comes from having a deep understanding of community revitalization and financing structures necessary to advance the vision for healthy sustainable communities where family and businesses thrive. And I think that just really in knowing you and just knowing the passion that you have for people, this is awesome. So tell us a little bit about that, just that sentence right there.
Yeah, I think that again, it what you hear over and over again is like this vision for sustainable communities.
Mhm.
And I may talk about this a
Yeah,
little more in the
that's fine.
conversation, but
Yeah.
um, some of the greatest predictors of folks' life outcomes are based on the zip code that they come from.
Wow.
And so, do you have access to quality housing, quality education, opportunities that people actually need in order to have a good quality of life?
Yeah.
And so that's the work of community development, is trying to make sure that all people have access to those opportunities that they need to thrive.
Wow. And I mean, and if there isn't someone in their corner, how is thriving even possible, right? Oh, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Okay. All right. So your current efforts include implementing innovative home ownership strategies for low-income families, expanding access to capital and business opportunities for women and developers of color, and providing career exposure opportunities for Detroit high school students in real estate and community development. And so just even reading through your education, your BA is in political science from Wayne State University and a master's of public administration from the University of Michigan Dearborn. And you serve on the executive communities of Detroit CDFI Coalition and Detroit Residents First Fund, on the boards of Sidewalk Detroit and Cody Rouge Community Action Alliance, and is the co-founder of Detroit Church with her husband, who serves as lead pastor. So let me just stop right here in the conversation room. Let me clap for you. Cheers, cheers.
Hilarious.
Hilarious. Hilarity. Okay, so right off the bat, can you tell us just a little bit about your life in general, just apart from the bio, and as you were searching for answers for really how you wanted to live out your passion? Tell us a little bit about that.
Absolutely. So, as you know, I'm a very goal-oriented, very results-driven kind of person. Even going back to before I married my husband of over 25 years, I was like, what we doing? Where's this going? What's the mission? What are we going to accomplish together, right?
Yes.
And out of that conversation, he said real simply, to change a generation. And so, just those few words like really gave us a vision of what God wanted to do through us together, right?
Yes.
And so, we've been serving in ministry together pretty much our whole relationship, from youth ministry and worship to now leading and founding a church. So similarly, when it came to my career or professional life, to be honest, I was not like, oh, I'm going to be a lawyer when I grow up, or I'm going to be this, or I'm going to be that. I was not really clear or sure. I just knew that I wanted to make a difference in people's lives, right? And so on that basis, that led me down the path of like exploring careers in the nonprofit sector. And so I began to float my resume, and had an opportunity to work for one of the like premier community development organizations in Detroit at that time, called Warren Connor Development Coalition. And the work just captured my heart, right? Like I love that work in part because like you have something different that you're working on every single day.
I was supposed to say every day or every minute.
Literally, I can work on several different issues and things in any given day. And it's all impactful work. It's about people and place, right? So you can see the fruit of your labor, right? In projects and looking at housing and looking at community facilities and beautification, but you also see and experience the impact on the lives of the people that you're interacting and engaging with. So,
and can I ask you, isn't there something about being able to meet someone and see the transformation in their lives? I don't know, how does that feel for you? Because I know I get fired up. I just like, oh my gosh, this happened, and now we see this. What does that feel like for you?
I mean, it's amazing because it's not, for me, it's not transactional, right? So it's not like I do this and then this happens and then this person, you know what I'm saying? It's like the work that we are doing together around the table. So it could be working with community residents and figuring out, the issues that are important to them. And so they say the issue is around blight, right? Like I want my neighborhood to be beautiful. I don't want illegal dumping here. I don't want, what I'm saying, abandoned houses and things like that, or working on solutions to property tax foreclosures and things like that. It's like what I love about the work that we do is it's not, again, we're not doing anything for folks, we're doing it with folks. And the reality is I'm a Detroiter, so I live on the block in the hood, and so the things that impact residents impact me and impact my family, right? So working alongside my neighbors, my fellow residents and citizens, to make our city work for us, to make our neighborhoods places where our children are safe and can flourish and all of that. It's extremely rewarding because we can see the difference we can make together.
That's so good. And together is the thing. You said it, together. I love that. So what ultimately, and this question may have pretty much been answered, but what ultimately was the thing that helped you to really decide, like, you know what, I'm going to do this. I'm
Yeah.
going to do this.
So, what I would say is my passion is really to lead people and places into beauty,
Mhm.
joy, and opportunity.
Oh,
Beauty,
wait a
joy,
minute.
and
I was about to
opportunity.
say it again. Beauty, joy,
Joy and
and
opportunity,
opportunity.
right?
Wow.
Like there can be such negative
Mhm.
connotation and
Okay.
conversations
Mhm.
around some of our neighborhoods and communities. And
Mhm.
it's like when you again interact with people and you come together around a vision and see the
Yeah.
kind of transformation that you can
Mhm.
make, then like that's the light and the beauty and the joy that I want to bring. And so, I want people to see and experience like the beauty and the
Mhm.
glory of God through my work, right?
That's whew,
Um,
girl.
like we carry the kingdom within
Mhm.
us. And
Yep.
so
Mhm.
as people who of faith, I'm a person of faith, right? Like
Yes.
that belies everything that I do.
Mhm.
And um, I know that when I show up, I bring his
Yep.
presence with me. I bring his
Love
power and
it.
authority with me. And
Love
so
it.
that's why like I'm not intimidated
Mhm.
by difficulty or challenging circumstances because I know who God is. And if he sends me, he'll provide the provision. And he every time he's done that, like, you
Every
know,
time.
yes, every time. We've seen just amazing things
Mhm.
happen
Mhm.
in community. Like I can give you one example.
Yes, please do.
May know. So property tax foreclosure is a big issue in the city of Detroit.
Okay.
Um, and you know, organizations like some that I've worked with would
Mhm.
go on campaigns to try to address that, right? Make sure that people who are in poverty know
Mhm.
that you can get an exemption. So you don't have to lose your house. You can keep it and not pay income tax. I mean, property tax, right?
Oh, inside information.
Well, it shouldn't be inside.
Right.
So we help to get the word out,
On the
right? Out
outside.
to the outside, right? And help them to go through it used to be more complicated. They've simplified it some now, but that's some of the advocacy work that we've done to go from,
Wow.
maybe several hundred houses in the neighborhood being in danger of foreclosure to by the time that foreclosure process actually happens, there's maybe like one or two, and those are vacant, right? Those aren't
Wow.
occupied by
Yeah.
residents. And
Mhm.
so, like, that's the kind of impact
That's
that
awesome.
and transformation that we're able to make, right? Like people hold on to their property.
Wow. And that is important.
That is absolutely important.
Because not only is that just people's home base, no, that's literally their home base.
You
You
can't
know?
imagine a disruption, that's caused by losing your home,
Yeah.
and having to uproot your family and
I was
just
about to
the
say that.
trauma
Yeah.
that's even
Yeah.
um, involved in that.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
that's awesome. Okay, so give us just an idea of what do you do? I don't know. I can't necessarily say a day in a life because your day in a life is could be anything. But just tell us what do you do?
So I'll keep it kind of high level.
Okay.
As I indicated, the company that I work for, Cinnaire, has like four core business lines, right? So
Okay.
we do impact investing, where we invest equity into affordable housing projects
Okay. Okay.
and community facilities. We are a community development lender, right? So we provide loans and again access to capital for
Mhm.
developers and small businesses. Um, we have a development company, Cinnaire Solutions, where
Yes.
if there's not development capacity in a community, we have a development company that can come and work alongside that community to realize that project or vision. And then we have a title company.
Oh,
So what Cinnaire Community Connection does, which is the team that I lead,
right.
we get to try to leverage all of that expertise in a city or a place, right? So we go in, we learn about the community, we learn what the needs are. We
Mhm.
connect with partners on the ground, organizations, funders,
Mhm.
and all of that. And then we work with them to realize their community development plans. Um,
Okay. Wow.
and so some of that work has resulted in, again, just based on the needs of a community
Yeah.
in Detroit, we own a portfolio of low income housing
Okay.
um, single family homes, right? That
Mm,
people have been renting for years. Well,
mm.
as they come out of, I don't want to get too complicated, but
That's
as they come
fine.
out of the tax credit compliance, there's an opportunity for those renters to purchase that home.
Okay.
And so
Wow.
that's one of the initiatives that my team helps to implement. We give those renters an opportunity to buy that home, and this is the best part. They end up only paying the equivalent to what they were paying as a tenant,
What?
right? So they can own the home and buy it and purchase it and still only have to pay what they were paying as a tenant. So it's
That
things
is
like that.
amazing. You
That
can I was I was like, we just gotta breathe on that because that is really
Yes, yes, that's one of the signature initiatives that we have in Detroit. And then in Wilmington, um, there they have a lot of vacant and blighted properties that they want to see put back into active use. So
okay.
one of the initiatives there is like training developers, right? Like providing
Wow.
emerging developers training and mentorship and capital. So we
Wow.
have a loan program that's attached to that, and we have partnerships with the municipalities so that they are able to access some of these properties. And we provide them the funding and the support to be able to now take those homes and put people back in them, make them beautiful again, and put people back in them. So those are just a few of the things
Yeah.
we do. Again, I mentioned the work with young people because as young people come up, we want them to know like you can participate in making your community what you want to see it
Yeah.
look like, how
Yeah.
you want to see it be. And so we teach them about community development and real estate development. So if they want to be an investor, if they want to be a developer, if they want to participate at any level in the real estate process, because ownership is the thing.
Yep. Ownership is
um,
yeah.
so we
Yeah.
give them those keys and those tools and those
Wow.
opportunities as young people.
That's awesome. And
That's
so
a few things.
yeah, well, I mean, I think that just the portfolio of the opportunities that are there, it really behooves our listeners to really see if some connection can be made there, because it's once again, it's a mindset of let me do this for you. No, it's a mindset of together we can do this. And I
Yeah,
think that is absolutely beautiful. So I clearly everybody is going to know that you have dug deep, and that where you are seated right now, you realize that you are enough, that you have, done a lot in your life to get to this place, but what are some of the internal struggles, or even external struggles that you faced, as you were really deciding, hey, I'm going to move forward in this? Tell us a little bit about that.
absolutely. So I made a pretty significant career change about a little over a year and a half ago.
Mhm.
As I talked about early on, I have been working on the ground in neighborhoods in Detroit for like a couple decades. And, you know, I want to really lift up the work that folks on the ground do. Like the CDCs in Detroit are led by some of the most brilliant, innovative, creative, mission impossible type bosses that you will find anywhere.
Wow.
Like these folks have faced me and my colleagues
Yeah. Yeah.
really have faced some insurmountable challenges, from municipal bankruptcy to the Great Recession to
Wow.
um, foreclosure crisis, COVID-19, right? Like
Whew.
all of these things have had really, really devastating impacts, frankly, on people and on neighborhoods. And so, but for organizations
Mhm.
like some of the ones that I've had the pleasure of working alongside, um, like we don't know where our communities would be, but they've been there. They were at the forefront and really helping to stand up small businesses and
Mhm.
families and all of those things, right? Um, but again, I have been working in that space, and really kind of came to a place where I was contemplating, like, what would it look like to work, to do this work at scale, right? Like to look
Yeah.
at it from a city level, or even like taking the lessons learned in a place like Detroit, and what would it look like to take those lessons learned and apply them more
Mhm.
broadly, right, across
Mhm.
communities. And so, as I began to contemplate that, I also got some executive coaching. And that really helped me to step back and really think about like what I wanted and
What
what
you
I
need?
needed.
What you
Um,
needed?
like seriously, because sometimes you can be so focused on like the work and
Yep.
whatever it is that you're doing, and again being very mission driven,
Mhm.
um, that sometimes it feels selfish to step back and think about yourself, but it's not, right?
I was about to. I was let you finish that sentence, but okay, no, it's not.
It really isn't, right?
It's
Because
not.
it's important to be aligned, right? Like
Yep.
I said, I want to lead people into joy. Well, that means I have to have joy in the
Oh my
work that
God.
I'm doing, right? And so one of the things that I realized in taking a step back is like, yo, I've been compromising on my compensation for years, right?
Mhm.
Focusing on the mission. But here I am now in my mid to late 40s. I got kids I'm trying to put through college.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't have sufficient retirement savings. I got these student loans,
Mhm.
kind of
Mhm.
staring me down. And
Yeah.
so, that was one of those external things that was like, I need to maybe look at doing some things
I need
differently.
to do something
Um,
different. You have to say that like this. You're like, I think I need to do something different.
Time for a change, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
and
that's very
so,
real.
so internally though, I really struggled with the opposite of your podcast name. I know you said, you got all this experience or whatever, whatever, and so you should know that you're enough. Well, I did.
Yeah,
I did.
it's true.
And that
Wow.
feeling of not good enough
Mhm.
really was something that I had to overcome. And
Mm.
so I remember specifically a job opportunity um, came my way, and the pay was like better than double what I was making at the time. The organization budget was maybe 10 times what the organization I was leading was. Balance sheet was crazy. You know what I mean? Like it was the kind of opportunity that I was like, yes, this
Yeah, yeah.
is the scale of
Mhm.
this work that I want to be at. But another part of me was like, yeah, but you don't meet all the qualifications on
Mhm.
this job description, right? And so I remember talking about it with one of my mentors, and he was like, what percent of qualifications do you think a man needs to have before that they'll go after a job opportunity? And I'm like, I
Wow.
don't know. I'm like 80. He's like, Sherita, 60, 50 to 60%, right?
Like what? Huh? Wait, what?
But on the other hand, women will count themselves out if we don't have 100% of the
Wow.
qualifications.
Wow.
We feel like we got to know how to do all the
All of
things
it.
at the top of our game. But really, any opportunity, you want to have some room to grow. So,
Yes.
he really, really was able to help me with my perspective on that. And I began to do that internal work, right, of dealing with those mindsets and like, where is this coming from? And why am I perceiving myself this way, even though I've got this resume and I've been doing this work?
Yeah,
Um,
that's awesome. That's
and
awesome.
so dealing with that was primary. And then externally, I had gotten an organization where I was at the time to a really good place, right? Like we had staffed up, we had a strategic plan, we had raised the money, we had revenue generating stuff going on. But we had also just gotten involved in two really complex real estate transactions that were like um, a stretch for the organization. This was ambitious new stuff that we hadn't done before. And I was like, well, I was thinking I would stay here, 5 or so years, and I really want to see these projects through and all of that. And, all I can say is, we don't tell opportunity when to find us.
Right. Exactly.
It
That's
doesn't
true.
always match our timeline, right?
Exactly.
But again, that coaching really helped me to really
Wow.
clarify like the type of role I
Yeah.
wanted, the level of compensation that I wanted,
Mhm.
the type of organizational culture and environment and
Got
support
myself to see.
that I needed. Because I wasn't really focused on even the level of support that I needed. I really wasn't getting much. I was just doing all the things and supporting
Mhm.
everyone else,
Mhm.
but not getting what I needed. And so I'll just say I ended coaching in the spring. By the fall of that year, I had taken on this new position.
Wow.
And then by the summer, as I said in my bio of 2022, I had been promoted um, to this new position that allow me the opportunity of what I had wrote down somewhere of what I wanted to eventually do, like starting in Detroit and then doing this work in communities across the United States, right? Like,
That's
amazing.
right.
But
That's what to say. There's no other word. It's just amazing.
I have to deal with my internal and externals and
Right.
be open to the opportunities and the possibilities.
Yeah, and I mean, and I want to speak to that because that is the beauty of this podcast. Just really being able to show the vulnerability, of what you had to go through. I mean, nobody, maybe I shouldn't say nobody, but most folk just don't automatically arrive and just be like at the top of their game. You know what I mean? There is
Yeah.
an evolution of you as a person, and just being able to say, okay, I know that there is a higher level for me. How do I get there?
Yeah.
How do I get there? And being willing to get some education, get some coaching, all of the things that you said. Because what I always say is that the day that you stop learning is the smartest that you'll ever be.
Mm, yeah. You
That's
can never stop learning and
you can
growing.
never stop learning. You've got to keep
Never.
going. And then yes, you get to the place where you realize that what I really have inside of me, it's inside of me. It's in here. And I
Yeah.
am enough. And I shouldn't have to live my life, career, any expectations, any boundaries below that. So that's awesome. Okay, so in the few moments that we have left over, I'm going to give you rapid fire questions. Okay.
Oh gosh.
All right.
Yes.
So here we go. Let's shift gears. Tell me a few things about you that the listeners will be like, say, what? What? Rapid fire. Spit it
Rapid
out.
fire. Okay. I used to sing background for a Christian hip hop group and even rapped a time or two. All right.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
You remember those days?
I, I don't, but yeah, I'm sitting here like those days because I was sitting over there on the side, like rapping with you, like knowing all the words.
Mm-hmm.
Hey.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then next rapid fire. What are you most proud of in regards to your business journey? 30 seconds or less.
Okay. I am proud that I stayed on mission. So I'm still doing community development work. I just found a way to do it that works for me and what I needed. And I've kept family first, right? So making sure that the needs of the family were met and what kind of positions I could take. I never compromised on that. So I'm really proud of that. And that I bring my faith to work every single day. And I'm glad and honored that I get to bless people with the love and grace that I've been blessed with.
Oh, I love that. Bring your faith to work. Oh, girl, can we just stop there? But we can't. But
You
yes,
said rapid fire.
I know. And now I'm over here belaboring the thing. You got to talk faster yourself, Shalyn. I mean, because I think I have to just at least say one thing. The reason why that's so honorable is because you shouldn't have to compromise your life to that level. So that's
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna just leave it there. Okay, so what advice would you give to maybe not necessarily an entrepreneur, but a career person that's looking to scale? Okay, I promise. Rapid fire, go.
So I would say one, like, don't get tripped out when it doesn't go according to your plan. Um, I feel like my career has been in, out, up, down. Again, like based on whatever was going on with my family or what the needs were or whatever. Like I've done contract, part time, full time, management, leadership. It's just be willing to flow with the spirit.
Flow with the spirit. Flow with the spirit. And I think that the thing is be flexible. That's
Be
literally what I
flexible. Be
heard. It
flexible.
doesn't mean that if you go forward, then you can't take a step back or a side step to get this, because there's more than one way to
There is more than one way, and just be clear about what it is that you want. Like, know who you are and why
okay?
you're here. Know your purpose, and then you're able to get there.
That's awesome. Okay. So in this moment right here, because you said you've went through a lot, the company has been through, different, everybody's had changes, right? All these different things. What motivates and inspire you to keep going even when you personally are having a tough time or facing a challenge? What would you say?
So one of my core values is that problems have solutions, right? And if problems have solutions, that means nothing is impossible. So for me, challenge is just opportunity, right? Like,
Love it.
it provides an opportunity to see goodness and for people to see my good works and glorify my Father. So, yeah,
There's a solution, is what you're saying.
there
There
is
is
always a solution. There's always a solution.
always.
Even if the solution is no, no, and next,
Almost snapped on that one. Almost took us back to Detroit. No and next.
and
Almost
next.
had to snap on that
But
one.
there is a solution.
Yeah. And even the word no, what no is an answer.
It is an absolute viable
Just like
answer
yes
to a
is.
question. Yes.
Okay, so is there, and just wrapping this up, is there anything that you would like to really leave the listeners with? Maybe encouragement or some kind of connection that they can have with you, with the company? What would you say just to take us out here?
So my current encouragement is, again, know who you are, know why you're
Mhm.
here, and go for that wholeheartedly. In terms of connecting to the work, like there is so much opportunity to do good work, especially in community development and in neighborhoods. So I would encourage you to find your local CDC, your local community development organization,
Love it.
get connected, volunteer, donate, and make a difference in people's lives.
You make a difference in people's lives. Woo! Well, Sherita, I have to say it has been wonderful spending time with you here on the art of being enough. And you have just been in the conversation room.
Hey,
Hey. So thank you so much for joining, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.
thank you.
Oh, and don't forget, you are enough.